Buenas tardes.
Okay, ready. Hola amiga, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Hola amiga, ¿cómo estás? Dios te ama. Take a step verde, levántate. Si le gusta amarillo, levántate. Si te gusta naranja, levántate. Si te gusta rojo, levántate. Hola amiga, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Hola amiga, ¿cómo estás? Dios te ama. Si te gusta morado, levántate. Si te gusta negro, levántate. Si te gusta azul, levántate. Si te gusta blanco, levántate. Hola amiga, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Hola amiga, ¿cómo estás? Dios te ama. Si te gusta gris, levántate. Si te gusta rosado, levántate. Si te gusta marrón, levántate. Si te gusta esmeralda, levántate. Hola amigos, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Hola amiga, ¿cómo estás? Dios te ama.
Our trip to ILAG in Guatemala was amazing. I came away with many impressions, but the primary one for me is the undergirding bravery of all of those involved with this ministry, both past and present.
Here we go. Oh, go tango, go, 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 en mi corazón.
ILAG School for Children found out the neighborhood they were in was in danger of falling down the hill, literally, and needed to close. They worked diligently to find a new location, obtained a loan from the ELCA, went through significant remodeling, which still continues to this day, and were able to continue supporting this much needed oasis and education opportunity for kids.
En mi corazón, en mi corazón, yo tengo alegría, alegría en mi corazón. Porque Cristo me salvó, es tan hermoso, tengo tanto gozo. Porque Jesús está en mi corazón, es tan hermoso, tengo tanto gozo. Porque Jesús está en mi corazón, yo tengo gozo, paz y alegría en mi corazón. En mi corazón, tengo gozo, paz y alegría. Tengo paz, 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 paz en mi corazón. ¿Dónde? En mi corazón. ¿Dónde? En mi corazón. Paz, 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 paz en mi corazón. ¿Dónde? En mi corazón. Y'all are so good. You're too good.
Cristo me salvó.
Porque Cristo me salvó.
When I heard we had the opportunity to visit ILAG in Guatemala, I jumped at the chance for a change in perspective and to see how God was working in an environment so different from my own safe little bubble. Each of us who went saw things from a different perspective, and hopefully we'll keep pieces of it with us as we go forward. I personally learned that the people of Guatemala are hardworking and resilient. The country is a piece of land the size of Tennessee with 37 volcanoes. Only 3 are active and located on fault lines that cause earthquakes. The ground they heavily rely on for their livelihood is literally shaking beneath their feet. So what do? Well, they plant in terraces up the mountainside to catch water. And when the elevation becomes too much, they change to a different crop that can grow at a higher elevation. Pastor Karen's son Diego works with the farmers through the seed program to continue to find ways to grow sustainably. After years of civil war and continued political instability, their government cannot be relied upon to support them, and in some cases is actually detrimental to their livelihood. And yet they keep working to make progress for their people and for their land, in and amongst all of the corruption. ILAG works through whatever open channels they can find to support children, women, and education. Representatives from the Lutheran Center travel for hours through remote, winding roads to get to their churches and to visit their people. And while most people speak Spanish, there are up to 24 different indigenous dialects still spoken on a first language basis in some of those remote villages. And Pastor Karen and her team persevere.
In 2014, the ILAG congregations bravely elected Pastor Karen as their president One can only imagine the obstacles Pastor Karen faces as a female leader in machismo, Guatemala. From the start, Bishop Horatio and Pastor Esther were courageous in their ministry to bring holistic support to the poor, indigenous, and refugee communities in their country. During the 35-year-long Civil War, they defied curfews to bring aid to any in need. When the war ended, the bishop visited refugee camps in Mexico, helping those there with the paperwork they needed to return to Guatemala. And in assisting and advocating for the indigenous, they were often labeled as subversive by those in power, but they persevered. And then there are the young ladies and their families of Milagro, showing courage in sending their daughters away for months or years, some as young as 13. In order for a girl to be accepted to Milagro, her entire family has to approve. That's not just mom and dad, that's the grandparents, the siblings, the aunts and uncles. If only one of them does not approve, the girl will not go. So all of them have to overcome the fears for the young woman of their family and say yes. The girls themselves then courageously leave their home, their family, their community, and move to ILAG in Guatemala City. Year after year, decade after decade, the good people of ILAG have found the mental and moral strength to face danger, fear, and difficulty to follow God's call to service. They are making a difference, a real difference in Guatemala. They exemplify what it is to support their brothers and sisters in Christ and are truly an inspiration.
The girls at Milagro are raised in a historically patriarchal and poor environment. They're not raised to have their own thoughts or opinions or ideas. And yet, during their time at Milagro, they learn leadership skills, they learn a trade, they learn how to become financially independent, and how to be an example in their village. And don't even get me started on how strong and resilient they are when you hand them a soccer ball.
corazón, en mi corazón. Yo tengo gozo en mi corazón. Por Cristo me salvó. Paz en mi corazón, en mi corazón, en mi corazón. Tengo paz en mi corazón. Porque Cristo me salvó. Alegría en mi corazón, en mi corazón, en mi corazón.